So now we are just starting another piece, right? So if I divide again the TLS portion into four pieces, we just completed confidentiality, integrity. We will be talking about authentication now. And by the way, non-repudiation, believe me, it is going to be covered in this starting three pieces. I will be telling you how, right?
You forget to send the the PPT.
Yeah. So
You know.
Mr. Augusto, again, I will be talking about it. Just remind me on the WhatsApp only. Okay.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Now,
Thank you.
now we are starting authentication piece right here. What is the meaning of authentication? Let's try to understand it first. We have Miss Anjali here. We have HDFC Bank here. Till now, we know how to send my message confidentially, how to maintain the integrity. I know confidentiality, I know integrity, but these things are absolutely secondary. Why secondary? Because if I'm not sure whether I'm talking to HDFC Bank or an intruder, all these things are not going to matter. For example, suppose in beginning, Anjali wants to communicate to Mr. HDFC Bank and she has initiated a conversation, right? She's saying, hello, Mr. HDFC Bank to internet, right? And here is my problem. This request can go to HDFC Bank or this request can be hacked by this Mr. Intruder. This request reply, if I showcase you with the blue color, it can come from HDFC Bank or the request reply can come from Mr. Intruder. The communication is just the communication has just started. Miss Anjali wants to be absolutely sure on the fact that whether she's talking to an HDFC Bank server or if she's talking to Mr. Intruder. She wants to be absolutely sure on that. How she is going to be sure on that? It means that when she starts the communication with HDFC Bank server, HDFC Bank server must be sending something to Anjali which proves that HDFC Bank server is actually HDFC Bank server. Really, really interesting. But Mr. Intruder cannot send that thing which is only available with HDFC Bank server. Believe me. What is the common problem you are seeing here? The common problem is that whether Anjali should trust the return traffic by HDFC Bank or Mr. Intruder, because Anjali doesn't know who is Intruder, who is HDFC Bank, right? It means that the major problem we are seeing here is the problem of trust. Believe me, on this word, every communication is happening. If we can trust HDFC Bank, we can talk to HDFC Bank. If we can trust Google server, we can talk to Google server. Otherwise, if this trust is not there, then believe me, anybody can take advantage of that. So this complete system means if I open my laptop and if it is talking to HDFC Bank, the complete system is built on trust. And trust is a problem, or trust is actually, if suppose I am here in India and if I go and travel to a different country and there are many people there, there is an inherent meaning appealing in me that I should not trust any strangers. If I am in India also and if I talk to somebody stranger, I do not trust him or her, right? To begin with. But when we go into relationship, the first thing which which is most crucial is trust, right? But how we are going to maintain this trust between computer system? Because if Anjali is talking to HDFC Bank, it means that Anjali's laptop is talking to HDFC Bank server. As simple as that, right? Now, let's talk about a story because we have today's session maybe was quite heavy. So I will be giving an example from the daily life, which is going to be the replica, an exact replica of that is implemented in network security. As I mentioned previously also, most of the network security principle, right, are taken from the daily life because at the end of the day, whoever is developing this network security is human being like us. He is going to solve the problem by looking the problem that how these problems are solved in real lives. And they try to implement the same solution in computers world, right? So let's see how we can solve this trust problem in real world, and I will be proving you that the same solution is going to be used by computing system. Again, I am going to take 5 more minutes of yours. Please do pay close attention. Having said that, let's go to the next board. But before that, just give me a minute, maybe 20 seconds. So here is the problem and how in real life we solve this problem. So what is happening here is we have Mr. Rahul who is the employee of Sports India Corporation, and now Mr. Rahul is in very good position in Sports India, right? He is actually the right hand of the CEO. And now CEO is discussing one specific problem to Mr. Rahul. He's saying, Mr. Rahul, right now we are operating from Delhi, and Delhi is one of the most expensive cities in India. If that is the case, I want to open another factory, which is maybe quite far away from the Delhi, so that we can save some cost. So Mr. Rahul is saying that there is a village after 200 kilometers in India, and if we go there, I think we can make a factory there to build or to produce our equipments, and this factory is going to be quite cheap as compared to our factory in Delhi. So Mr. Rahul is saying, do not worry, Mr. CEO, I will be opening this factory right there in the village. It's how the business works. Little bit. Let's talk about that. So generally, what is going to happen? Uh, for my business to run, I need to buy some raw materials. For example, if I'm producing cricket bat, I need wood, right? And for that, I will call vendors. Those vendors are going to give me that wood, right? And sometimes the business work like this, and sometimes, and the most of the time, business built or run on trust. I go to the vendor, I say that I need 10 lakh rupees raw material. And vendor is going to say, of course, I can give you, and he will deliver 10 lakh rupees raw material. But believe me, this guy is not going to give him 10 lakh rupees. He's going to say, right now I am going to give you, or I am giving you 1 lakh rupees. But rest assured, once I take 10 lakh rupees raw material from you, what I'm going to do, I will be creating products with the raw material. I will be selling that into the market. And once I get the money, I will be returning your money back. And the vendor is okay with that because vendor and this industry guy has trust between them. But here is my problem. When Mr. Rahul was in this village, right, he has opened this factory and now he is in search of a vendor or the supplier. He found a supplier and he says, Mr. Supplier, please send me 10 lakh rupees worth of raw material. And supplier is saying, okay, no problems at all. I will be delivering it to you. And now Mr. Rahul is saying, Mr. Supplier, is it okay if I give you 1 lakh rupees? And now the supplier is saying, what? Man, I am delivering 10 lakh rupees raw materials to you. Why would you give me 1 lakh? Because I do not know you. I don't trust you. You just came into this village. How can I give you 10 lakh rupees of raw materials in just 1 lakh? It means that supplier is not trusting Mr. Rahul. You agree with me that? Right? And on the same time, even Rahul has some apprehensions about the supplier. He's thinking that if I give maybe 1 lakh rupees and I do not know the supplier, or maybe he can take my 1 lakh rupees and not going to deliver the raw material. As simple as that. What is the problem here? The problem is there is no trust between Mr. Rahul and the supplier. There is trust deficit, you can say. Interesting. Don't you think that there is the same problem between Anjali and HDFC Bank server also? Anjali was not sure whether she is talking to HDFC Bank or maybe some intruder. There was no trust. How we are going to solve this problem? Whatever approach we are going to take, believe me, we are going to take the same approach while solving the computer problems because computer problems were solved by human beings like us, right? And that is where I am introducing this guy who is the village headman. He knows everybody in the village. He knows the supplier well because the supplier is working from last 25 years in this building. And luckily, this village headman also knew Sports India CEO and Mr. Rahul also. Interesting. There is somebody who can build trust between Rahul and supplier. How? It is going to be very, very interesting to know. See, Mr. Village Headman will go to supplier and he will say, Mr. Supplier, don't worry. I know Mr. Rahul. He is from Sports India. Even I know the CEO of Sports India, right? He will give your 9 lakh rupees back So do not, whatever the business you do with other folks, do the same business, same kind of business with Mr. Rahul. I take the full responsibility of Mr. Rahul. In the same manner, village headman is going to Mr. Rahul and he's saying, do not worry about supplier. I know him. He is doing business from last 25 years. Do not worry about your 1 lakh rupees, right? If you give him 1 lakh rupees, it is absolutely sure that he's going to deliver 10 lakh rupees goods worth, right? If that is the case, this village headman is actually doing the job of building trust between Mr. Rahul and supplier. It is as simple as that. And now, if I talk about in the real world, if we have Anjali's computer right here, if it is talking to HDFC Bank server, believe me, I need to introduce somebody here, something. I do not know what this thing is. Who should know this guy as well as this guy? If that is the case, it can build the trust between Anjali's computer and HDFC computer. And by the way, this thing is known as certificate authority. We will be talking about it, right? What is happening here? We have Anjali, we have HDFC Bank, and Anjali is interested in communicating to Mr. HDFC Bank. So she has initiated a communication from here to here. And now she is not sure, and that was the problem which we discussed, right? She was not sure that the reply is coming from HDFC Bank or the reply is coming from the intruder. She wants to be absolutely sure about it that the reply is coming from HDFC Bank. Or maybe she should have some mechanism through which she can identify whether she is talking to HDFC Bank or Mr. Intruder. It means she wants to authenticate first before doing any communication. You all know Anjali is dealing or Anjali is suffering with the trust issues, right? Because she couldn't trust whether she is communicating to HDFC Bank or whether she is communicating to Mr. Intruder. And that is where Mr. Village Headman comes into picture. Wouldn't it be nice that we have the same kind of trust builder here in our computer industry also? Wouldn't it be nice if this village admin says that, okay, Anjali, you are talking to actually HDFC Bank server, I am certifying it. And when some intruder wants to communicate to Anjali, this village headman says, Anjali, HDFC Bank server is somebody else. The guy which you are talking to is Mr. Intruder. It means that Mr. Village Headman is not certifying intruder. Mr. Village Headman is only certifying HDFC Bank server that this is the certified bank server. I am using this word a lot now, certified, right? What is the meaning of certified? What is the meaning of certificates? We will be talking about it. But the whole sole aim or whole sole point of introducing this picture is that it is going to be great if we have the same kind of setup, just like what we have in our real life, to build the trust in our computer industry also, in our security industry also. And believe me, this guy, whatever you are seeing right here, will be becoming certificate authority. If you have heard about certificate authority, this is the concept we are going to introduce today, right? Keep this picture in mind. And now we are moving to our next board where we will be talking about certificates. Because at the end of the day, this village headman is certifying HDFC Bank server is HDFC Bank server. It means that it is giving HDFC Bank server something so that when HDFC Bank server talk to Anjali, HDFC Bank server can say, see, I am HDFC Bank server because I have been certified by village headman. Really, really interesting, right? Maybe village admin can give him a piece of paper and maybe this village admin can sign this document with its own signature so that once Anjali see this document here, Anjali is absolutely sure about it that yes, you are HDFC Bank server. Why? Because you have that seal, you have that signature, because I know that signature belongs to Mr. Village Headman. And when this Mr. Intruder comes with the document, Anjali will be seeing this signature here. And once she see the signature, she identifies that this signature doesn't belong to Mr. Village Headman, and I'm not going to believe you. It means that the certificates are going to be really, really important. And that is why I am introducing the concept of certificates right here. Okay, so we have Miss Anjali. Miss Anjali has recently done his engineering, 4 years of hard work from a college which is well known, right? Which is a well known university, which is Massachusetts Institute of Technology, which is in Boston, America, MIT, right? And to prove that Anjali has passed the 4 year engineering program from this university, this MIT university or MIT college is giving her a certificate where you can see, although I haven't written Mr. Anjali's name here, but you can see here is the Anjali who has passed maybe 4 year program from this university. And on top of it, this university's maybe the head of this university signed this certificate. And on top of it, they put something which is not forgeable, which is something you also know with a name which is hologram. It is believed that it is not copy means it can't be copied, you can say. So university is giving one document which we know as certificate, right, to Miss Anjali, which proves that Anjali has passed 4 year program from MIT University. You all know about it, right? We all have our certificate of maybe completion of some exam. Maybe we all do CCNA, we all do CCNP, CCI is also, we have CCI is also here in this class. What Cisco does, Cisco just give them a certificate, right? That you have passed CCNA, you have passed CCNP. And they also give the time limit that you have passed this exam form maybe for 2 years. After 2 years, you need to pass it again. But generally, if you passed your engineering, you will be getting a certificate for your lifetime. What is the use of this certificate? You can show it to anybody. And they have to believe that, yes, you have passed from MIT University if you have seen, if they can check or cross-check this hologram or this signature, right? Maybe Anjali came back to India after passing her BTech or the 4 year engineering program, and she wants to get a job in India. And in India, of course, everybody is going to ask Anjali, if you passed from MIT University, can I have your certificate? Anjali has to show her certificate. But can we have the same thing in our computer world also, right? This is a piece of paper. Computers can't read this piece of paper, right? Although today's computer can, but you can understand from where I'm coming, right? So I will be showcasing you that with the help of our knowledge, which is confidentiality, please do remember, right? That we have learned some cool concept about confidentiality in which we have learned asymmetric encryption and symmetric encryption. We have learned about integrity where we have talked about hash functions. And we saw that if we combine confidentiality and integrity, we can make digital signatures. If you haven't heard about the digital signature word, do not worry about it. Don't worry. We will be talking about it. But whole sole point is that we know something about confidentiality, we know something about integrity, and we are going to combine it to form authentication, where we are right now. So the whole sole game was to learn TLS. We have divided this TLS problem into 4 parts, and we are already done with confidentiality, we are already done with the integrity. Now we are talking about authentication. Inside authentication, we are talking about certificate, which is one of the major portion of doing authentication. Because if Anjali possesses the certificate, Anjali can prove that she is Anjali who have passed 4 year engineering program from university. And don't you think that we are solving the same problem? If we have our HDFC Bank, if somebody good can certify that HDFC Bank that yes, you are HDFC Bank, and here is your certificate, that HDFC Bank can show the certificate to anybody who want to authenticate him. As simple as that, right? But I would like to showcase you this certificate which was generated by university from the viewpoint of two learned concept, which is confidentiality and integrity. Let's move to the next board. And here we are. And I have a special request now. Please give your 20 or 15 minutes of complete attention to this board. Although I have discussed this board with you, but still. So what is the problem? Try to understand the problem. We have Miss Anjali here, and Miss Anjali is having the certificate which was created by this university and which proves that Miss Anjali has done engineering from Massachusetts Institute of Technology or this university, say. Now Anjali have applied for a job, and here we have Mr. Rahul, whose duty is to check that whether the certificate is correct or not, whether Anjali has actually passed her engineering from MIT or not, and how we are going to do that. See, we are trying to understand all these things from the viewpoint of computers now. And that is why, if I am talking about a university, I'm talking about the computer of the university who have generated this certificate. Interesting. And believe me, I'm combining the concept of confidentiality and integrity. Just try to understand. We have this laptop. We can call this as a university laptop, which is going to build this certificate in file format so that other computers can understand. It is not going to be the paper now, right? So what this computer is doing, this computer has generated this data or this file, and on this file, this computer has written, Anjali has completed her 4-year degree in IT. This is the file, this is the pure data. Now, this computer is going to make something from this file so that Anjali can show it to anybody and that anybody can prove, right? Can check this document that yes, it is built by this university. It is created by this university. So what this university computer is doing, first, it creates the data. Anjali has completed a 4-year degree in IT, and now he's passing this complete data to a hash function, which might be SHA, secure hash algorithm. And what is going to be the result? You all know the result is going to be a fingerprint or a thumbprint or a number. If somebody change anything in this document, of course, this number is going to change. And this is the property of this number or the hash algorithm. So what is this green color thing? This green color thing is the fingerprint of this file. But university's computer didn't stop at this place. And what he is doing? This computer is again taking this thumbprint and only this thumbprint and only this number. And it is encrypting this number with its own private key. So this number is going to have two keys. We are talking about RSA, or we are talking about asymmetric key infrastructure. So this number is taken by this computer and this computer is encrypting it with its own private key. By the way, this is AES. AES is the symmetric key encryption. So maybe you can use any algorithm or maybe RSA algorithm, which is the asymmetric key encryption. So I am just saying this is algo. Algorithm need key, you all know, to encrypt, and that is where we are going to get this encrypted signature. And by the way, this is known as my digital signature also. Try to understand, try to pay more close attention. I am not encrypting the complete file. First, I am getting that file, passing it to SHA algorithm, and I am encrypting only the little piece. That is where I am introducing efficiency into the system. Why? Because I do not need to encrypt the complete file. I'm just encrypting the small number. Because encrypting a complete file is an operation which needs more computing power. I'm not doing that. Why? Because I want whatever the data I'm generating, this data can be read by anybody. Because certificate, you can read the certificate, right? If you have your engineering degree, anybody can read it, no doubt about it. But the magical thing on the certificate is the signature or the hologram which this university puts, right? So try to understand, I am taking the data, passing it to hash function. Now that is my fingerprint, which is in green color. And now I am encrypting this green color with my private key, which is the university's private key, right? Really, really interesting. And whatever the thing I have got here, the little thing, this is going to be the signature of this university. Why? Because private key is involved here and only university has its private key, right? And what university is now doing, it is taking this file here and then at the bottom, it attaches this signature here. Just try to remember this little yellow thing. What exactly is this? This we came, that this little yellow thing we formed by passing this entire data first to the hash function, and whatever the value come, I'm just encrypting that with my private key, which is N. Just try to remember this. A university is putting something which is very specific to this university, right? Who can create this signature? Only this university. If I say why, because this is having this the signature is created by the private key of the university. So I am pretty sure that this private key cannot go anywhere. It means that this is signed by this university, right? Because nobody else in this world will be having this N number apart from this university, right? So what this university is doing, it is taking the file, attaching this little yellow thing, which is the digital signature of this university. And whatever the file you get after this is actually known as the certificate. This certificate was generated by the university and given to Miss Anjali. And now Miss Anjali is giving this certificate to Rahul. And Rahul is going to do his due diligence to identify whether this certificate is coming from MIT or this proper university or not. What Mr. Rahul is doing, Rahul is separating this piece of paper and the certificate. So here is that piece of paper means data. And here we have the signature. He is passing this piece of data with the same hash function. And of course, he's going to get this number, which is exactly this number. Why? Because if I am assuming that nobody has changed it, I am assuming the ideal case. Nobody has tempered the certificate. Nobody has changed the certificate content. The certificate is good. Rahul is taking this file, right, and dividing that file into two pieces. One is data, the other one is signature. He's passing the data to the hash algorithm, and of course, you're going to get this number. He's passing the signature, right? He's passing the signature. He's decrypting the signature. How? This signature was signed by the public key of university, sorry, private key of university. How can I decrypt it? I can decrypt it using the public key of university. And I'm presuming here, although we haven't discussed it, but Mr. Rahul is already having the public key of university. How he has that? This is going to be a separate discussion, which I'm going to do. Believe me. Right now, you need to presume that Mr. Rahul is having this M value, which is the public key of the university. So if something is encrypted using the private key of university, I can decrypt it using the public key of university. Rahul has that public key. So he is doing the same algorithm, decryption algorithm, and then M, which is the public key. And of course, if I decrypt this yellow circle, of course, I'm going to get the fingerprint, right? Why? Because I got this yellow circle after encrypting it with the private key. I'm decrypting it the public key. I'm going to get the same number again. And of course, if these two number matches, right, it means that this certificate is signed by this university. Really, really interesting. Now, what I'm going to do is I will be introducing an intruder here. And we are going to talk different use cases, how this intruder can change this data. But again and again, right? Because right now, Mr. Rahul has proved that this certificate indeed was generated by university, the correct university. And now he's saying Anjali has passed his 4-year program from this university or maybe Massachusetts Institute of Technology, right? As simple as that. But now it is high time to introduce Mr. Intruder in the middle, and let's see what magic he is doing to break whatever we have just learned. Right? So here you go. We have our Mr. Intruder right here. He is Mr. Intruder. First thing first, what is he doing? He is taking this certificate, whatever is generated, because the certificate is available in public. So he's taking the certificate and he's giving the certificate to Mr. Rahul and saying, Mr. Rahul, I have passed my bachelor degree from the university or the MIT college. You can check it. From where the certificate is coming from now? Coming from? From Intruder. But when Mr. Rahul checks the certificate, he's going to see the name of Anjali. And then he denied that Mr. Intruder, the name written here on the certificate is Miss Anjali. You are a bogus user of this certificate. I am not going to believe it. So his first attempt is fail. He just can't take the certificate and can give it to Rahul to say that this is my certificate, because certificate has data and Mr. Rahul can easily decode the data, can easily read the data that this certificate is for Anjali. Just go away, right? Now Mr. Intruder is getting smarter day by day. And he's saying, if that is the case, what I'm going to do, instead of Anjali, I will be writing my name. I will be writing intruder has completed her 4-year degree. And whatever the remaining things are, like this certificate or this digital signature, I am not going to change it. If that is the case, and now intruder is saying, Mr. Rahul, here is my certificate. I have passed. See, here is my name. Really, really interesting. And now Mr. Rahul has the same process to check it. What Mr. Rahul is going to do, he is just removing the data. He's detaching the data with the signature. Now Anjali has been changed with the name intruder. If that is the case, of course, hash is going to be resulted into a different value. Maybe it is going to result into 101010. Suppose. If that is the case, the signature he hasn't changed. He can't, right? Because he want that he just changed the name and he kept everything same so that the certificate looks authentic. In the real life, guys, this is the problem. In the real life, if you have a certificate and if you know Adobe or some software really good, you can change the name. And maybe sometime we have seen in real life, people have forged this document like this. But believe me, here is not going to be possible. Why? When you change this data from Anjali to intruder, you are proving everything with the use of mathematics, right? Mathematics can prove you wrong or right. If this data or hash value change, the signature, if you decrypt it using the public key of the university, you are going to get the same result. Why? Because this was the original data created by the university. Intruder has changed it, but he hasn't changed the signature, right? If that is the case, this value and this value is going to be different. If these two values are going to be different, then of course, Mr. Rahul is absolutely sure about it that somebody has tampered this certificate and this certificate is not valid. Really, really interesting, right? Third thing, what he can do. Now, Mr. Intruder is becoming really, really smart and intelligent, right? So what he is doing now? He is saying, I have passed this exam and now I am going to calculate my own hash value, right? Which is going to be maybe changed 101011, suppose. And then he is generating his own public and private key and he is creating his own signature here. And now he is going to give the certificate that, see, I have passed from that university. Interesting. When Rahul passed this data to the SHA algorithm, of course he's going to get 101011. There is no doubt about it. But here is the problem. Mr. Rahul is going to decrypt this signature, whatever the intruder has created, using his own private key, right? Mr. Rahul is going to decrypt it using the university public key. Why? Because Mr. Rahul believes university and not that intruder. He has university public key. He is going to decrypt it with the university public key. And of course, this number is going to be different. And if this number is going to be different, Mr. Rahul again knows that somebody has tweaked this document. Guys, isn't it really, really great to see all these use cases? And now I am all open for your questions, right? If you have any doubt, any question about it, because this picture is actually solving an important piece, which is authentication. Whenever we are going to perform, whenever we, for example, if we have a user, if we have identity services engine, first thing first, we need to make a secure communication between them. Whether I am talking to ICE exactly or not, it might be the case that somebody else can be there in the system. I have to identify that I'm talking to ICE. If I'm talking to HDFC Bank, I have to identify that I'm talking to HDFC Bank. And that is where certificates plays an important role. Now it's already half an hour, approximately 28 minutes. I would like to take a pause here. Okay. Anybody, your questions are most welcome. Anyone with any question? Okay, so we have question from Mr. Abhishek Dimri. Mr. Abhishek ji, you can ask your question, please go ahead.
Sir, so we have here means symmetric and asymmetric can go in that. And I heard about the means 3 dash test and means AES where we do the bit by bit encryption.
So this is not AES.
Whereas,
This is where I have done the mistake. Maybe this is RSA algorithm, which is asymmetric.
okay, okay,
Okay.
okay. So in these cases, means always we prefer to go with the RSA only. No?
Asymmetric, basically there are multiple algorithms, but RSA is the widely used algorithm for the asymmetric encryption, Mr. Abhishek.
Okay. So we'll prefer for that.
Yes, you're right.
Going in.
Yeah, perfect. Anybody else? Any other questions? Sorry for this.
Yeah, Vishnu,
Yeah.
one question.
Yeah,
In
Mr. Rao.
this scenario, we encrypt the traffic using the public key.
Yeah, go ahead, Rahul. Don't worry.
Am I audible?
Yeah, you are.
I was asking in which scenario we encrypt the traffic using the public key.
Which scenario? So if you see right now, we are talking about a specific piece, which is authentication. If you remember, if I want to achieve confidentiality, right? What I did, if I am talking to HDFC Bank server and I am Anjali, I will be taking HDFC's public key to encrypt my data and send it, right? So that only HDFC Bank can open it using its private key. That is where you were talking about confidentiality, Mr. Rahul. And it is absolutely normal to have a confusion at this point, right? Most of the people get confused with authentication and confidentiality. Why? Because try to remember, in confidentiality, we were encrypting using the public key of the receiver, right? Try to remember, we were encrypting using the public key of the receiver, so that only the receiver can open it using the private key, because this is how private key and public key are associated. In authentication, what we are doing, in authentication, we are basically signing a document with my private key or this university's private key, so that anybody can open it using university's public key to know that it was signed by the university itself. Mr. Rahul, is it good?
Yeah.
Perfect. And do not worry, I have a specific board on this, that how authentication and confidentiality are different. But if you read this, or if you watch these videos in quick succession, one after other, it is going to be clear. And by the way, whatever we are reading right now, these are the building blocks of my security concepts. For example, whenever you start learning your networking fundamentals or your network, first thing first, you read about address resolution protocol, how do computers talk in two different network and in same network. If you know only this thing, everything else is just efficiency over it. Similarly, we are reading about most fundamental concepts of security, which is authentication, confidentiality, and integrity. If you know them, many of the concepts which you are going to read later on are going to be easy for you, because you have built your solid foundations. Any other question? Anybody which is confused or having some question in this? Anyone? I think we are good. If we are good,
I have a question.
yeah, Mr. Augusto, go ahead, please.
Yes. So in this example, in which case we will use asymmetric or symmetric encryption?
Yeah, so I will be combining all these pieces. See, our main goal was to study TLS. You agree with me, Mr. Augusto?
Yes.
We divided this thing into 3 or 4 pieces. Confidentiality we have learned, integrity we have learned, authentication we have learned. Non-repudiation, basically, I have covered. You don't know, but I have covered. So by the way, we are reading all this concept in separately. Believe me, in my next class, it is not going to be possible today. I am going to combine confidentiality, integrity, and authentication. Then you are going to see where I'm going to use asymmetric encryption, where I'm going to use symmetric encryption, where I'm going
Yes.
to use hashing, where I'm going to use this certificate. Everything will be there. And once you have this knowledge, you are going to have a complete picture of TLS. Why people do not get TLS? The reason is because they do not get the individual concepts well. Mr. Augusto, I will be combining them for you, for everybody.
Please.
Sorry.
Please, because it's very important.
It is very important. I know. And that is why we are building our knowledge step by step, Mr. Augusto.
Okay. So the last one is NL. What is it? Network works?
Non-repudiation. The
Okay.
meaning of non-repudiation is when a sender sends something, and if he has done the transaction, at later point of time, he should not say, no, I haven't done the transaction. You should have enough proof to prove that you have done enough this transaction or not. That is known as non-repudiation. Okay?
Okay.
Yeah, so we are moving. So by the way, guys, if any point of time, I know that these concepts can be a little bit heavy on mind, but I think that we are reading them in the most simplistic manner. Having said that, let's move to the concept. And now, please try to remember this university. What this university is doing, this university, it is trying to create the trust between Anjali and Rahul. And university has successfully done that. How? By granting the certificate to Anjali and by giving its public key to Rahul so that Rahul and Anjali can have trust. Now, Anjali, if she wants to work in Mr. Rahul companies or organization, she can work. Why? Because Rahul is absolutely sure about her credentials. Rahul is absolutely sure that yes, she has passed her engineering from university or MIT. So she is a good resource. She's going to be good resource for my organization. Although, of course, interviews are going to be there, right? But with respect to her documents, I am absolutely sure about it. Okay. Having said that, just keep this thing in your mind. Now university is doing the same role as done by village headman. Village headman was also certifying that here is Rahul, he's a good guy. Here is supplier, he's a good guy. And now Rahul and supplier has a good understanding that they both are good. They can do the business, right? Here also, university who is granting the certificate is actually creating trust between Anjali and Rahul. Now I am going to formally introduce certificate authority and how it is doing its bit in this complete communication. Now we are coming
One
to
more.
the, yeah, Augusto, please go ahead.
Yeah, one more question, one quick question. In case of integrity, because you say confidentiality, you encrypt, will do encryption with the public key, and then and the receiver with decrypted with privates.
Yeah.
And authentication, the sender will encrypt with private, and the receiver will decrypt with public, right?
Basically, the headman, the village headman of the university, who has the authority to sign the certificates. They are doing it. Yeah.
In case of integrity, how do it work?
We will be
With
talking
what?
about it. Where integrity is going to come into picture, I will be talking about it. Don't worry.
Okay.
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 So,
okay, thanks.
So right now we are introducing in the more formal way the certificate authority. Now I have replaced that university, the same picture, but instead of having university, I am having the certificate authority. So what is happening here? So now Miss Anjali wants to talk to HDFC Bank server, but the problem is same. When the reply can come from intruder or can come from this HDFC Bank, right? Now we need somebody who can certify that HDFC Bank, you are HDFC Bank and you are the correct HDFC Bank. You are not an intruder. So what is happening right now? HDFC Bank server is on internet, Anjali is on internet, and Anjali wants to do a transaction, a financial transaction of maybe 10 lakh rupees, which is a huge transaction, right? Now, what is happening? Before this bank can come to this internet or the bank server come online to internet, he has to do some pre-work. Believe me. And he sees that who can certify me, who can vouch for me that I am HDFC Bank on internet, right? Who is going to give the certificate to me? So he look around that who is the most trusted man on internet. If it is a case of village headman was there, right? In case of internet, we have several authorities whose duty is to give you certificate, and these are the well-known names. If I give you some name, I think you must have heard about VeriSign. You must have heard about DigiCert. And indeed, the certificate of HDFC Bank, I will show you. I will show you the real certificate of HDFC Bank server, right? And it is signed by DigiCert. So there are huge authorities over internet which can provide you and which are trustworthy too, which can provide you the HDFC Bank certificate, which can tell you that yes, correct, you are the HDFC Bank server. But this certificate authority cannot provide certificate to anybody. So what is going to happen? Before this HDFC Bank server can come online, right? It generates its public key and it also generates private key. By the way, whatever the keys are you are seeing here, if the key is of green color, that is public. The meaning is it can be anywhere, it can be everywhere. Everybody can know about HDFC Bank public key, but nobody can know about HDFC Bank private key. Anybody can know the certificate authority public key, which is M, but nobody can know the private key of this certificate authority. And everybody has generated the pair public key as well as private key. We all know about it. See the beauty of the solution. Now, before coming online, HDFC Bank server communicates or goes to this certificate authority. I have heard about you a lot. Maybe this is DigiCert. Suppose HDFC Bank server saying is that you are the most trusted name on the internet. I have heard about you a lot. Can you give me a certificate which proves that I am HDFC Bank server? And certificate authority is going to say, absolutely, this is my job. But Mr. HDFC Bank server, if you are saying you are HDFC Bank server, give me all the documents which proves that you are the HDFC Bank server. If that is the case, HDFC Bank server is going to create a file and it's going to give it that my name is HDFC Bank, right? I work in India and maybe this is my government certificate which proves that yes, I am the HDFC Bank. I have the domain name registration also. And here is one of the important thing. He also gave his public key as a part of this document. Believe me. HDFC Bank server is going to certificate authority. Certificate authority is saying, come with the document, because any intruder can also come and say, I am HDFC Bank. I am going to ask the same thing to intruder also. If you are HDFC Bank, please give me all the necessary documents. And this is the work of the certificate authority. Certificate authority is going to do its due diligence. That yes, this is the HDFC Bank server because he satisfies all the necessary things. His name is correct. He is the owner of this domain name. He has purchased this domain name. And that is the case. Now certificate authority is going to say, okay, I am convinced you are HDFC Bank server. It is going to reply back. But how it is going to reply back? What exactly it is giving to the HDFC Bank server? And let's see the process. Let's try to understand. The process is exactly same. So what Mr. Certificate Authority is going to do is going to pass all this information, all this data to a hash, right? And then he's going to get the hash value. After that, he's going to pass this hash value because it is difficult or computationally or more, it is going to need more computational power. If it signs that, if it encrypt the complete document as we discussed in the previous board, it is going to just encrypt the hash value with an algorithm and what its private key, which is n, to generate the digital signature, which is maybe this red dot. Really interesting. And what it is going to do, it is going to get that information that yes, your name is HDFC Bank, right? You work in India. Here is your private key, which is K. And now I am attaching this little signature. I prove because I have done the due diligence that you are HDFC Bank. I have seen your documents. You are good. And that is why I'm I'm doing my signature here. By the way, this is also known as digital signature. This is again the hologram. It is as good as if you see the Anjali certificate, that university has signed this certificate. Really. So this document, whatever is built by the security after putting its own signature, which is encrypted by its private key, is known as certificate, guys. This is actually the certificate. So HDFC Bank server is now really happy that Mr. DigiCert is saying that yes, I am HDFC Bank. So he's convinced with it. And that is why it is going to install this certificate on this server. What is the meaning of installing the certificate on this server? I'm telling you. But you should all agree with me now that HDFC Bank server now knows that basically certificate authority has just given me a certificate, and on this internet now I can prove that I am HDFC Bank server. Why? Because I have the backing of certificate authority. I have the backing of village headman. Just try to understand, certificate authority is just like the village headman, right? Or maybe the university. Now I have that certificate, and see how the communication start. First thing first, when Anjali says, I want to talk to Mr. HDFC Bank server, she's going to send a hello message. It's a simple hello. I want to talk to you. And HDFC Bank server says, before talking to me, Miss Anjali, please authenticate me. What is the meaning of authentication? Please make sure that I am the HDFC Bank server, and to make sure, right, I will be helping you. How you are going to make sure that I am HDFC Bank server? With this reply message, we call it the hello reply from the server or the hello from server. HDFC Bank server sends its certificate, which was signed by the certificate authority. This certificate, guys, where it has written HDFC Bank name. It is working from India. It's public key. Why HDFC Bank has put its public key here? I will let you know. This is going to be very, very interesting piece, right? And now, of course, it is also having this little signature of this certificate authority. Now, Anjali says hello. Anjali got the reply hello. And now Anjali has to check whether this hello is coming exactly from HDFC Bank server or not. So for that, she is taking out this certificate. She is going to divide the certificate into two parts. One is the data where we have HDFC Bank, India, and the public key. And she is going to say the signature. This is different, right? What now she is going to do? I am presuming that Miss Anjali is having the public key of certificate authority. Public key of certificate authority, not HDFC Bank. Believe me, guys, just try to remember. HDFC Bank public key is right there into the certificate. What is the use of it? I am going to tell you. Just forget about it. But try to understand the HDFC Bank server public key was there in the certificate. But Miss Anjali is already having the public key of certificate authority, which is N. Sorry, not N, which is M. From where Miss Anjali got it, I will be telling you. I will be showcasing you that in your browser, you have some public key already. When you install the browser, maybe it's Mozilla Firefox, it's Chrome, it comes with the public key of certificate authorities. I will be letting you know. By the way, that is known as the root certificate also. But we will be introducing these terms. I am just introducing this term now, like root certificate, because here we see people who are good in the network security. But if you're not, that is perfectly fine. For now, just presume that Miss Anjali is having this M, which is the public key of certificate authority. And now you all know how to validate this sign. Anjali is going to pass this data in the hash functions, and she is going to receive a value, maybe 1, 2, 3, 4, right? And of course, once we decrypt the signature from algorithm plus public key of certificate authority, we are going to get the same number 1, 2, 3, 4. If these two numbers are same, it means that this certificate is signed by a certificate authority. There is no doubt about it. This is what exactly I was checking in the previous board also. I am going to be absolutely sure that this certificate is signed by the certificate authority because I am able to decrypt it digital signature. And when I get the value is exactly same as the hash value or the fingerprint of the data. If these two value matches, I am absolutely sure about it that this certificate is signed by certificate authority. This certificate is signed by village headman. This certificate is signed by my university. As simple as that, right? So now I would like to introduce Mr. Intruder in the middle. Right now, everything is good. I said hello to HDFC Bank server. HDFC Bank server says hello to me. In that hello, it is sending a certificate. I just compared the certificate. I just checked the certificate and I found that the certificate is signed by certificate authority. Now, Mr. Intruder is going to certificate authority and saying that I am HDFC Bank. And known certificate authority is saying, if you are, show me your document. And unfortunately, Mr. Intruder doesn't have this document. And that is why it is not going to give, the certificate authority is not going to give her the certificate. What he's doing, he is going to another certificate authority, right? Which is fake, which has a bad reputation on the internet. Maybe it's public key and private key are P and Q. Certificate authority is bad reputation on the internet, and Mr. Intruder is also bad, right? This guy is saying, hey, fake certificate authority, give me the certificate for HDFC Bank. And because this is fake, it is going to generate the certificate and giving it, yeah, okay, you are HDFC Bank. And now when Anjali says, I want to talk to HDFC Bank, this guy is replying back. And now I'm going to use the red pen. This guy is saying, hello, I am HDFC Bank. Anjali is going to get confused. It is getting two hellos back, one from the real, and she has identified this guy is real, right? Because this guy's certificate is signed by the certificate authority, which is well known, which is just like a village headman. But Miss Anjali's responsibility is to check this certificate also, which was sent by the intruder, in which say I am HDFC Bank and here is my signature. But here's the problem. Anjali is not going to have the public key of this fake certificate. And you must be thinking, why, Mr. Vishnu? Anybody has the public key. Anjali has the public key. And suppose QP is the public key of the fake certificate authority. But believe me, it is up to Anjali to whom she wants to believe. She wants to believe. And inside her laptop, she is going to believe only those authorities which are good, which are well known, maybe very signed, DigiCert. She's going to believe that. But for the fake certificate, she's not going to believe. And if she's not going to believe this certificate because it's signed by fake, it is going to discard this certificate. As simple as that. Really, really interesting, right? I would like to take a break here, okay, so that you can ask your question. Please do ask your question. Anybody? Or maybe, am I audible, guys? Or it is too difficult, too easy? Anyone? Any comments? Okay. Am I audible, guys? No, yes? Interesting.
Yes.
Okay. Any question? Interesting. In Hindi class, people have so many questions. In English, we do not have much. Really, really interesting. Any doubt, any curiosity which is coming to your mind is going to be highly appreciated here. Anyone? Mr. Daniel, Mr. Burak, Mr. Abhishek,
Yeah, hi,
Lias,
sir.
all good. Abhishek?
Yeah, hi, sir. Yes.
Yeah, perfect.
So these transactions means what we are following from the Anjali to server.
Mhm.
So every time it will go, right?
Yeah, so suppose Anjali is talking to HDFC Bank, HDFC Bank, in the second step, it is going to give the certificate. If I'm talking to Google, it is going to give me the Google certificate. If I'm talking to Amazon, it is going to give me the Amazon certificate.
Okay.
And
if suppose,
every or industry is going to sign the certificates from the well-known certificate authorities.
Mhm.
Okay.
So don't you think if Anjali session get terminated,
Mhm.
so other time again she will be getting certified from that server. So my point is that if server is not getting overloaded for this so many things because LDFC Bank server, not a single person is using, so many people will be using in single
Oh, that
stand.
is fine now. Suppose 100 people are using it. Suppose maybe you can say 1,000, 1 lakh, right? Everybody is going to say, hello, Mr. HDFC Bank, right? Any HDFC Bank has to reply, right, Mr. Abhishek?
Yeah.
I am saying in the first message, it replies with the certificate. That is it.
Mm.
To 100%,
Okay.
yeah, if there are 100 communications going on, HDFC Bank server is going to reply with the same certificate to them. Because any conversation with HDFC Bank should start with that see, you have sent me hello, I am sending you my certificate back to you, right? Authenticate me. Otherwise, it could be somebody else. Okay, Mr. Abhishek?
Yes.
Perfect.
By looking it's complex, you need to see again this video.
Yeah, means it is going to be
Yes,
great
bye.
if you repeat this video once again. I am absolutely sure that people ask question when they get something, or when they get people do not ask question when they get everything, or when they do not get anything. So I see less question here. I am presuming I'm a pretty positive man, so I am thinking that everybody has gotten this concept. But if you're not, see, you are sitting in the live class, guys, right? Please do ask your question. Okay. Having said that, let's move to our next board, which is going to be the last board because I have finished my Hindi class right here, and now it is my responsibility to add here some terms. Why we introduce term? Because if you understand the network security well, right, and if you talk to any network security guy, we are not going to talk in terms of village headman or authority, right, or basically this university. we have to talk about in terms of in some standard terms, right? So you all know that we know about asymmetric encryption, in which we have public key and private key. We all know about it. We also know that when this HDFC Bank server wants to come online, what exactly it does? It goes to certificate authority to request that I want to be online and I want to prove to everybody that I am HDFC Bank server. I need something from you, which is the certificate. And certificate authority is going to do its due diligence. By the way, the request which comes from the HDFC Bank to this certificate authority is known as certificate signing request. What is the meaning? See, it is defining, the term is defining itself. HDFC Bank is saying, this is my request to you. Can you generate a certificate for me? Right? Here is my all data. Here is my public key. Here is my common name. Right? Here are the other things, whatever things you are interested in. I am sending a request to you, and then basically after doing its due diligence, a certificate authority is going to build certificate in which it puts its own little signature here using its own private key, so that anybody can decrypt it and check it that whether it's signed by the certificate authority or not. This M is available to everyone. Now you can ask me that, Mr. Vishnu, how this M is available to everyone. So first thing first, I'm introducing here another term which is known as CSR, which is certificate signing request. And I'm pretty sure that most of you have generated it. For example, when you are going to build identity services engine in your environment, and if some client is making connection towards, or if you are opening the admin portal of ISE, you are going to see that ISE server is not authenticated. You are not going to be sure that you are going to be you need to be sure that you are talking to correct ISE server. That is why you are going to generate the certificate signing request, and you go to your security team, which is in charge of certificate authority. By the way, I am talking to the certificate authority, which is on internet. You can have your own certificate authority inside your organization. If you're part of Sports India organization, Sports India can have its own certificate authority to assign the certificates to its own systems. This certificates, VeriSign and DigiCert, are the global certificate authority which provides certificate to the servers which are on internet. All right. Now the question comes. Mr. Vishnu, how Miss Anjali laptop is having these public keys of this certificate authority? Because at the end of the day, who is going to identify or authenticate the HDFC Bank server? It is going to authenticate the HDFC Bank server. Anjali is going to authenticate the HDFC Bank server on the basis of public key of certificate authority. As simple as that. But how come Anjali gets this public key? By the way, when you get the laptop, when you install a browser on it, suppose you have Mozilla Firefox. If you go the certificate setting inside it, you are going to see the trusted certificate authorities or trusted CAs. If you go inside it, you will be finding some certificate authority which are already into your browser. Believe me. Right? And if I'm saying the certificate authorities are already into your browser, it means that public key is in your browser already. So if a certificate is signed by a Verizon or maybe VeriSign or maybe GeoTrust or maybe DigiCert, that certificate is already there with the Mozilla Firefox or the Chrome. And that is where the trust is developed. It means that the public key is right there into your system when you buy it, when you install your Mozilla Firefox. And this is the responsibility of Mozilla Firefox or the Chrome or the browsers, right? That they include only the certificate authorities which are well known. That is where when you bring or bought your laptop, you try to make a connection with the HDFC Bank server. HDFC Bank server is going to send you a certificate which is signed by DigiCert. I will show you in tomorrow's class or maybe whenever the next class is happening, right? Here in DigiCert, it is signed by DigiCert, the HDFC Bank server certificate, right? And Anjali is going to check it using the public key of the certificate authority DigiCert, which is already there in the Mozilla Firefox or maybe in the Chrome. Really, really interesting, right? So this is how Miss Anjali is going to get the key of certificate authority, which is M. It is right there. And you all know that inside this HDFC Bank server certificate, we have public key of bank server, which is K. So M, certificate authority public key, she got through the browser. K, she got through the certificate itself. Why she is getting this K? I am going to talk about it.